You know, whenever we talk about making sure software actually works, we tend to split the world into two big camps: functional testing and non-functional testing. It feels like a really clean, simple division. But what if I told you that neat little line isn't just blurry, it might be totally wrong? And what if that flawed thinking is actually holding us back from building truly great software? Well, let's dive in and find out.
Okay, think of it this way. Let's say you're baking a cake. Functional testing is basically just checking the recipe. Did you add the flour? Yep. The sugar? Check. The eggs? Got them. It's all about making sure the core components are there. But non-functional testing, well, that's the taste test. Is the cake actually delicious? Is it moist? Does it look appetizing? In the software world, that means asking, is it fast? Is it secure? Is it easy to use? In other words, did we build something people will actually want to use?
All right, so let's start with that first category, functional testing. I like to think of this as testing the what. This is all about verifying the absolute core purpose of the software. Now, the textbook definition is pretty straightforward. It's all about making sure the software does what the business requirements say it should. Simple as that. So, for example, when you go to log into a website, does it let you in with the right password? And just as importantly, does it block you if you use the wrong one? That right there, that's a functional test. It's a direct check against a very specific required behavior.
And this stuff happens at every single level of development. You've got developers checking tiny, isolated pieces of code. That's your unit testing. And it goes all the way up to making sure the entire, fully assembled system works together as one cohesive unit. That's system testing. Each one of these is really just checking the what, just at a different scale. It's like zooming in and out on a map of your application.
Okay, so we've covered the what. Now let's flip the coin and talk about non-functional testing. This is where we stop asking, what does it do? And we start asking, yeah, but how well does it do it?
I mean, think about it. We've all been there, right? An app might technically work, but if it takes 10 seconds to load a page, it's basically broken from a user's perspective. Non-functional testing is what zeroes in on these critical quality attributes, things like speed, security, and just the general user experience. It's about making sure the software isn't just correct, but that it's actually effective and, usable.
So this is where you get into stuff like performance testing, where you're hammering the app to see if it can handle thousands of users all at once. Or security testing, where you're actively trying to find vulnerabilities before the bad guys do. Or even usability testing, just to see if real people find the interface confusing. Each one is like a different instrument in an orchestra, and they all have to play together perfectly to create a high-quality final product.
So, here we are. We've got this really neat, clean separation, right? One type of testing for correctness, another one for quality. Let's put them side by side to make that classic distinction totally clear, because this is the model most of us were taught.
And this table really lays out that classic divide. On one side, you've got functional testing. Its objective, just verify correctness. Its focus, the business logic. The kind of bugs it finds, a broken checkout button or a calculation that's just plain wrong. Then, in the other corner, you have non-functional testing. Its goal is to check those quality attributes. Its focus is on performance and the user experience, and the defects it finds are things like slow response times or major security holes. It really paints a picture of two completely separate worlds.
Now, this all seems perfectly logical. It makes a lot of sense on the surface, but what if this clean separation is actually just an illusion? This is where our story takes a really fascinating turn, and we start to see the cracks in this perfect picture.
I mean, let's really think about this for a second. Is a super slow website just a quality issue? Or is it a functional failure if a user literally gives up before they can complete their purchase? And what about a security hole? Is that just a quality attribute, or is it a fundamental failure of the system's function to protect your data? See, the lines start to get really fuzzy really fast.
So back in 2016, a group of researchers decided to dig into this very question. They analyzed over 500 requirements from real-world industrial software projects, and they landed on this number, 75%. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's a number that's probably going to change how you think about testing forever.
It means that a whopping 3/4 of the requirements that were labeled non-functional were, in fact, describing specific, measurable, testable behaviors of the system, just like functional requirements. The researchers basically concluded that the strict separation we've all been taught is largely artificial. It's kind of like finding out that most of the people you thought were strangers are actually your distant cousins.
And this chart from their study just illustrates it brilliantly. Take a category like reliability. You might think of that as this vague, fuzzy quality, right? But the study found that most reliability requirements were actually things like the system must automatically restart a component if it fails. That's not a vague quality. That's a specific, observable behavior you can test for. Same goes for security. A lot of the requirements were about concrete actions, like the system must authenticate the user before granting access. These aren't just qualities, they're functions, plain and simple.
So what in the world does this all mean for how we actually build stuff? If the distinction's a myth, how should we be thinking about quality? Well, this new perspective helps us build a much more modern, holistic strategy that can lead to way better products.
Now here's the crucial takeaway. We don't need to just throw the terms functional and non-functional in the trash. They can still be useful labels for organizing our thoughts. But we absolutely have to stop thinking of them as two separate, unequal worlds. The real goal is to see quality as a single, unified spectrum of testable system behaviors, whether that behavior is calculating a sales tax correctly or responding to a user's click in under a second. It's all part of the same puzzle.
So a truly modern quality strategy reflects this unified view. First, you aim for balanced coverage. This means for any critical user journey, like buying a product, you're checking for both correctness and for things like performance all on the same flow. Second, you shift left, which is just a fancy way of saying you test early and you test often. You automate these different behavioral checks throughout the development process instead of waiting until the very end. And finally, you extend your testing into the real world by continuously monitoring how the software is actually behaving for your users out in production. It's a much more proactive and holistic way to think about quality.
And that leaves us with one last, big, provocative thought. This isn't really just about testing, is it? If we start treating things like performance, security, and usability not as afterthoughts or vague qualities, but as core, essential behaviors of the system right from day one, well, that changes everything. It changes how we write requirements, how we design our architecture, and ultimately, it changes how we define what it even means for software to be truly done. It's a massive paradigm shift that could really lead to a whole new era of software quality.